There may be imitators, duplicators, wish they could flip a video like Levine wannabes. But there is only one. Levine Geometry, 8.4 and 8.5, area of a regular polygon and circles. And don't you forget it. So get ready to have your doors blown off, because we're getting started and it's been too long. Go ahead and write the title of this. Do not draw this picture. I don't need that picture and it's too complicated. It's going to waste everyone's time. Go ahead and write the title down and we're moving on. Now this is a home video, so there could be interruptions from dogs, fiancés, Taylor Swift breaks, chicken wing breaks, you never know at a home video. Now we have a first definition, and the word is apothegm. Similar to chapter 7 where we talked about why math can be hard because you don't see vocab words for math very often. And we got to chapter 7 and we saw reflection, we saw image, we saw rotation, words we'd seen before. Now we have another word just like that, apothegm, a word you've seen before, you've heard before. You might not realize it, but you've heard it in a very popular song right now. And you can hear him saying, apothegm, apothegm, apothegm. You can hear him say it. It's perfect. So, you've heard this song before? They've written a song, a current song about it. I don't know if I like the song, but hey, we can only do so much. So go ahead and write apothegm, a perpendicular segment from the center of a polygon circumscribed circle to the side of the polygon. I got the picture on the side. I really want you to draw that, especially the part where it has a little a right here. You can see the blue line, and I'll try to draw it in a little bit more. It's this line right here. That is the apothegm. It has to be perpendicular from the center of the circle to a side. You have a equals the apothegm and s equals the side. So go ahead and pause this video and make sure you get this down. I'm going to move on. Here we have regular hexagon, regular heptagon. This works for all polygons. And what we notice is for the number of sides, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's the number of sides of whatever our polygon is. The area of the polygon is 5/2 times AS. Remember, A is the apothegm and S is the side. And this is going to work for everything. Number of sides is 5, so it's 5/2 times the apothegm times the side. Now watch, I'm going to keep writing these in. Now over here, it's 6/2 times the AS. However, what is 6/2? It's just 3. I hope everyone could answer that. So that's 3 times A times S. Then we go to 7. That's 7/2 times AS. And that's a fraction, so it stays that way. Then we go to 8. That's 8/2 times AS. Well, what is 8/2? Hopefully everyone answered. 4. And it goes on continuing like this. 9/2 times the apothegm times the side. Then 10/2. And 10 divided by 2 is 5 times the apothegm times the side. And this works for all of them, which gives us our generic equation, which is 1/2 times A times S times N, where N is the number of sides. So what you need to have down, it'd be great to have this whole table down if you've already written it, but if you're lazy and you haven't written it and you don't want to write it, I need you to write this part of the equation. 1/2 times A times S times N, where N is the number of sides, and make sure you have in your notes, you should have it, I'm going to go back a slide, I'll be right back to this one, you should have it right here, A equals apothegm, S equals side. Make sure that's in your notes. You need to have it on both so you know what everything is. So go ahead and make sure you have that. That's the equation to find the apothegm, or to find the area of a regular polygon. So we go ahead and we write that exact equation. Area equals 1/2 is just divided by 2, so you can either write 1/2 times A times S times N, or you can write A times S times N divided by 2, But you also have to have both equations because this is one way we're going to use it. It's 1/2 times A times P, because the perimeter is just equal to the length of the side times n. The length of the side times n is equal to the perimeter. So there's your two equations. And that's for the geometric figure of regular polygon. Go ahead and write that, please. Then we have a circle. You guys should all know what the circle is. It's pi r squared. Pi looks something like this. It's harder to write with my mouse pad, but that's pretty good. You got to admit, that is a good looking pi. Pi times r, and r is squared. Not as good of a 2, not bad, not as good as the pi, but those are the two equations you need. That's all the equations you need for 8.4 and 8.5. But now we got to make sure we can solve some problems. So if it says the area equals what? If it gives you the length of the side, 24 centimeters, and the apothem, and it says find the area, we go back. I'm going to go back to the last slide, and we look at the equation. We have apothem, we have A. We have the length of the side, we have S. We can find the number of sides by counting. One side, two sides, well, I'll use a mark so you know what I'm talking about. One side, two sides, three sides, four sides, five sides, six sides, seven sides. So if our equation is 1/2 times A, S, N, apothem times the length of the side times N, we get 1/2 times A is 24. We multiply that by the length of the side, 24.9. We multiply that, and obviously these little stars I'm drawing are writing our multiply sign, by the number of sides, which is 7. So go ahead and do that. And you should get 2,091.6 centimeters squared. You're going to get to see another grade 2. Okay, so for number 3, it wants you to find the perimeter given apothem and area. So we go ahead and we write our equation. Area equals 1/2 times the apothem times the number of the length of the side times n, or I gave you that second equation. I'm going to go back and show you the second one right here. Area equals 1/2 area times, or apothem times perimeter. Area equals 1/2 apothem times the perimeter. And it wants us to find the perimeter, and it gives us the area. So we go ahead and we plug in. That's something you got to get used to. We plug in, we know area, 1/2. We know the apothem is 38.6. And then we're trying to find the perimeter. It's times the perimeter. So we go ahead and we solve for perimeter. We do 1/2 times 38.6, and we divide that answer. So go ahead and try. So you go ahead and do it. 1/2 of 38.6 is 19.3. So we have our equation, 4,940.8 equals 19.3 times perimeter. We divide both sides by 19.3, and we get 4940.8 divided by 19.3 is 256, equals the perimeter. Go ahead and pause this and make sure you understand how to do it. I'm going to move on. Now we have a regular nonagon. This is one I want you to do for 5 points extra credit. Pause it, try it. Now we have our apple pie, cherry pie, favorite pie, pecan pie is probably my favorite, equation, which is the circle. The area of a circle is pi r squared. Now I didn't draw this pie, so it doesn't look as good, but you can see there's the symbol for pi, r squared, and it doesn't matter the size of the pie. If you take pi, the number pi, 3.1415926, so on, so on, so on, times the radius squared, you get the area of any circle. So make sure you write down that equation. I'm going to go back and show you. You should have it right here on the bottom. We go forward, and we say, what's the area of the circle at the right? If the area of the circle at the right is 256 pi, what is the circumference of the circle? Remember, we learned circumference equals 2 pi r. So if we know the area is 256 pi, now let's get back. Let's see if I can give you a wonderful pi again. I can already tell it's not as good. Got a little swoop in there, a little curl at the end to try to make up for how it wasn't as good. 250, that's the area. 256 pi is the area. And that equals pi, so I gotta draw it again, pi r squared. And they want you to solve for r. So we have to divide by pi, because we have to solve for r because they want the circumference, and the equation is 2 pi r for circumference. And we get 256 equals r squared. And that's an easy solve. 16 is going to be r. You just got to do the square root if you can't do that off the top of your head. And you get 16 equals r. Now that you have 16 equals r, you plug it in for circumference equals 2 pi times r, but that r is 16. So you get 32 pi meters equals the circumference. Go ahead and make sure you understand this and you can read my handwriting, and we move on. Now we have two more problems. If r equals 3, what's the area? This is a really basic one. Area equals, we just taught you the equation. You should already have seen this equation in your life before. It's an equation people, even when they're 50 or 60 and haven't taken a math course in 30, 40 years, they still remember this equation. Area equals pi r squared. If the radius is 3, what's 3 squared? It's 9. So your area equals 9 pi inches squared. All areas are in units squared. R equals 0.5, it's the same thing. Area equals pi r squared. My pi's get worse by the minute. So we equal pi times 0.5 squared. Well, 0.5 squared is 0.25. So you end up getting pi times 0.25 meters. I would really, meter squared, I would really write this as 0.25 pi. Now it does say approximate, so you're welcome to multiply this out. You know how I don't like doing that, so I'll let you do that if you want to. But it's 0.25 times pi meters squared. Go ahead and pause this if you need to. I'm moving on. Here's two more questions. It gives you the area, then asks you to find the radius. It gives you the circumference, then asks you to find the area. These two problems are very similar to things we've done. Area equals pi r squared, but now they give me the area, and they need me to find r. So 3 pi equals pi r squared. Man, Taylor Swift would not enjoy how bad my pies have gotten. She likes a good pie. Divide it by pi on both sides. This is stuff we gotta be getting good at. This is still confusing you, then you're gonna struggle with this section. You need to make sure you find time. 3 equals r squared. You gotta take the square root of both sides. So your answer is actually square root of 3. You are welcome to take the square root of 3 and see what that gives you. But I prefer square root of 3 inches. And then circumference equals 12 pi. So now you have circumference equals 2 pi r. But they tell you that 12 pi is the circumference. And now you have to go ahead and find r. So we divide both sides by 2 pi because we're trying to get r by itself. And we're left with 12 equals r, and then it wants the area. Well, the area is pi r squared. pi times 12 squared. Well, 12 squared is 144. So you get 144 inches squared. And this is basically what you have to do. We've taught you how to find the apothem. We've taught you the equations for area, for a regular polygon, and for a circle. Here we got a 10-point extra credit problem, so you can pause this. I'm not even going to talk about it. It's a difficult question. Some of you might be able to get it. I would love if you did. So pause it if you want to work on this. And I'm going to make this a separate video. This is not part of the notes. These are examples. If you look, these are the exact problems we did on the whiteboard. It was just kind of going to go over them again if you wanted to see it. Some of these are not on the whiteboard. It's mostly just to kind of for your help. So I'll make that a separate video. Have a good night. I'll see everyone on Thursday.